All right, guys, we're going to go through the goals of Math 6 Snapshot 1 data reflection. We're going to use the same protocol that you will use on campus. All right, so let's talk about the what. So for your Snapshot 1, there were 5 standards. Out of the 5 standards, we noticed 2 standards stood out the most. Those 2 are, we have 6.7a, which is generate equivalent expression using the property, the 7D, sorry, 7A, generate equivalent numerical expression using nothing but prime factorization. And the second one that we also noticed stood out is 6.7D. That is generate equivalent expression using the properties of operations and distributive properties. Not only that, we also noticed that 6.7D, which is ordering, we're going to dive into those as well. That was one of the standards that also stood out. And also, it's good for us to kind of look at the other standard that we need to see what we can do about those standards. That will be 6.3E, which is 6.3E is multiplying and dividing positive rational numbers fluently, and 6.8D is pretty much geometry. All right, so with that said, where do we go from here? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at bad questions. So if you look at the bad questions, we will see that data was kind of all over the place. So I kind of have to narrow my focus here. So that I've decided to look at anything above 70 and anything below 65. This is just me kind of just looking at the data. You might look at it in your own way on your campus, which is fine. So question 8, which is 7.D, which we talked about was one of the standards that stood out to us. That was 80-some%. We're going to dive in. We're also going to look at those questions individually. Also, when you look at question 6, 87%, that's really good. All right, and then we're going to dive in to see the other ones that we probably need to focus on. That was the following. For question 1, you're looking at 55. For now, we're going to focus on the things that are below 65%. Question 4, and also question 12. All right. With that said, let's go ahead and dive in individually with the questions. All right. So for question 1 is 6.2D standard, and that is 56%. Well, let's find out what really happened. Well, they give the kids a table with a list of numbers. What they have to do is put it in order from the lightest to the heaviest. All right, so here's what we notice. We notice that 20% of students chose B. B really is, if you chose B, that means they did the reverse, from heaviest to the lightest. But the correct answer here is D. Now, if you combine those two here, you are looking at about 75.5. So that's something to just consider and think about as you're moving forward. Is there really a problem of them converting it to decimals? Or is it a problem for them ordering it, ranking it based on the highest and the lowest? So these are some questions that you can definitely reflect on and find ways to help your students. At least we know 75.5 in our district. All right, let's go in the right direction with this standard. Let's look at question number 4. With question number 4, which is 6.3E, which is, I believe, multiplying rational something fluently. Now, this is a gradable answer, and this is how it will look like on the STAR test. So students are supposed to type in the numbers in this box correctly. Individually, for each box, they have to type in a number. So the correct answer here was 6.6. I have noticed as I was going through the data for the entire district, I noticed some students have answered either 0.66 or they have answered either 0.066. That tells me that dividing was okay, but the misunderstanding of where to put the decimals or where the decimals supposed to go. So that looks more for me as a decimal. It looks like decimal problems there. So one thing you can do, something to think about, is one, do they know how to use this coordinate, this griddable? Or secondly, do we really have decimal problems? Those are some things to also consider as you're looking at the data. All right, so let's continue here. We also have another question that I want to highlight is question 12 for 6.8D. With this question, we have student was supposed to just find the area of the triangle. Well, 28% chose A. That is because they didn't divide by 2. They multiplied these 2. They just didn't divide by 2 and they're stuck with A. But really the correct answer is here. So if you really combine those two data, we're looking at 78% of our students in the district were able to at least start in the right direction. So something to think about again, how you can help your students start the problem and all the way finish it all the way to the end. All right. So now what? We have gone through some questions here. Now what? Well, here's some things as a district we have done. We have added a teaching strategy for 6.2D for ordering. You can find that in that Canvas course to the teacher resource folder. So what that is a resource to help you. First, it's kind of like just a structure for students to rewrite the to rewrite the original numbers here, to change to decimals here in each boxes, and then to rank them here. Then rank them based on what's the first or what's the second based on the question, and then to rewrite the original number. This strategy has been added in our teacher resource folder. And secondly, for teachers, we're asking you to incorporate the use of the star griddable questions, meaning just this right here. You can think about ways to do this in your class as a practice. You can think about ways to just put it on the whiteboard where students have to come and put the answer, or you can print them, or however you want to get your student comfortable with it. This is how they will see it on the STAR test, and there's just 2 more practice of that in the class as well. You can find these documents using this bit.ly here. I have that, and this bit.ly will give you this teacher resource, the teaching strategy and the griddable. There's also a video that can walk you through how to use a teacher strategy effectively. All right. So this video was simply an overview from the district perspective. How do we go for Math 6 Snapshot 1? If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, the coordinators, and we'll be gladly happy to help answer any of your questions. Have a good day.